All right, shalom, shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. We're going to start this lesson by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh,
Hello.
Bahashem,
Hashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Shah,
Bahashem,
Hashem,
Rakakadash.
Hakodash.
Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught us this word in truth and sincerity. Peace and mercy to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000. All right, that's also pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. All right, so once again, this is JMS Toronto, myself, Amath, fellow servant, and I got with me Malak, and we're going to get into Romans the 14th chapter. Okay, this will be a part one, and as you see the title here, it says Principles of Consciousness, right? Principles of Conscience, and actually, I got this title from the subheading of Romans chapter 14. I don't have any precepts set up, so we're just going to go in the spirit. But as you see here, it says principles of conscience. Okay. So, Malak, you have something you want to open up with?
Yeah. It's very solemn. So I'm gonna go this solemn subject as well. Right? Principles of conscience, right? So I'm gonna go to the book of Psalms, the 75th chapter. I'm gonna read 3 verses from there, from the NLT today. Right, you folks can look at it if you want, if you like, from the NLT or look at it from the KJV. But I'm going to read 4 verses today from the NLT, powerful verses, going into the principles of conscience. Right, so I'm going to read from 5 to 7. That's the point. This is a beautiful chapter, actually. Okay. You know what? I'll start at 4. Okay, just for the record, because simply put, in the time, this year is dubbed the time of agents. Well, we believe the year is spiritually has already started because we're going through things. But yes, when the time changes, it's going to go in full force when I should say January comes around, or even before that. Lord might be get strange with it, right? Dubbed the time of the agents, false agents, and false prophets, right? And their judgment. I'm paraphrasing it. As a matter of fact, I will get the correct quote in regards to that later on.
It's apostate, sellouts, and agents. That's the year.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna, Lord willing, for the next lesson.
What chapter? The Psalms.
75, and I'm going to read from 4 to 7 straight. And I'm going to read from the NLT today. Okay. So I'll get going here. It says, this is Psalm 75 and 4, right? NLT. It says, I warned the proud, stop your boasting. I told the wicked, don't raise your fists. Okay. Verse 5, Psalm 75 and 5. Don't raise your fist in defense at the heavens, or speak with such arrogance. Okay. Verse 6. For no one on earth, from the east nor the west, nor even from the wilderness, should raise a defiant fist. Here's the point. Psalm 75 and 7 NLT, it is Yahweh alone who judges. He decides who will rise and who will fall, right? And we say in the Revelation, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, because he has a representative, right, that was worthy to take the seals, right? He made him worthy to take the seals, right? He made him worthy, okay, to take those seals. And now he's over his house, right? And the world, right? Over his house and over his world. And he has extended that on to his prophets, starting with the apostles and elders on down, okay? And they believe in his imminent coming like we do, his imminent coming, according to these eternal and divine scriptures, right? So yes, Yahweh is the judge. And you can prove that he's the judge when you go into the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, the 4th and 5th chapter. That's it, brother. Go ahead.
Fine. Okay, so getting into Romans chapter 14, verse 1, we get right to it. It says here in the King James, him that is weak in faith receive ye,
See?
but not to doubtful disputations. Disputations.
Disputations.
It's NLT. It says, except other believers who are weak in faith, and don't argue with them about what they think is right or wrong. It's right, because there is what someone thinks is right and wrong according to their experiences and their level of faith and fear in Yahweh Shem Shai, and then there is what is right and wrong. Okay, so when it comes to counseling counseling a younger brother, a younger believer, you have to take into consideration that they don't have the same level of experience as you do. They're just coming out of the world. That's why these, in particular IUIC, you could tell the Holy Spirit's not dealing with them because the Holy Spirit comes with meekness and gentleness as well, providing the listener is sincere. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But IUIC, they'll see an Israelite walk down the street, right? And he'll have the hat on and they'll start barking at the guy about having his hat on when he's not even reading the scriptures. When you read the scriptures, talk about when you're prophesying that a man should not have his head covered. Okay. So what do? They start barking. Hey, you're going off. That, or a woman, hey, that pants are not made for women. It should, a woman should not be wearing pants. It should be wearing skirts, this, that, and the third. See, the Holy Spirit also has tact. Tact. Okay. You have to know how to speak to people according to the truth, according to where they're coming from. That's what Paul understood. So continuing on, it says, back in the King James says, for one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. Let him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth. For the power hath received him, for Yahweh Bashem Yashai has received him. Verse 4,
Mm-hmm.
who art thou that judgest another man's servant? That's right. To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for Yahweh Bashem Shai is able to make him stand. Okay, so in NLT, let's go to verse 2. Okay, it says, for instance, one person believes it's all right to eat anything, but another believer with a sensitive conscience will only eat vegetables. Yeah, so an example, like, you might be, like, again, this topic has been revisited multiple times where we have newer believers coming in every day, so it must be reviewed. But in the ancient world, you had things called the shambles, okay, which is where you would go to eat meat, just like you have your restaurants today. But also in those shambles, they also sold meat, and that meat, or that they would sell, okay, they would butcher that meat as a sacrifice to their gods. Right. So you had believers who understood that, hey, this meat is sacrificed to another God, but they prayed over it and ate it, just like we do today. Everything we eat today is sacrificed to Satan, the spiritual demon Satan. It has
Mm-hmm.
chemicals, it has everything, right? The vibration of it, all of it. Now, someone who's just coming out of the truth might be like, you know what, I'm gonna stay away from meat, just because they might have been a huge meat lover in the world, and now the spirit's on them to stay to be vegetarian. Someone, you're someone who enjoys meat. You shouldn't tamper with that other believer's walk if he wants to be a vegetarian. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's a light example of what's being spoken about here. So let's continue on. Verse 3, it says, those who feel free to eat anything must not look down on those who don't. Now, when it says feel free to eat anything, does that mean you can eat pork, eat shrimp? No, because like I said earlier, there's what is right and wrong according to the law, according to the scriptures,
Mhm.
and then there's the nuances within a man's walk or a woman's walk with Yahweh Shem Shai that they might consider as wrong, or it what's the word? It accuses their spirit,
Mhm.
right? They feel accused in the spirit for doing this. Like some brothers just can't be drinking at all. Okay, they
Mhm.
can't be drinking at all. Some brothers, they drink, right? They can hold their liquor. Does that mean the brother who can hold his liquor, or the brother who doesn't drink looks at the brother who can hold his liquor and say that he's wicked for drinking? Absolutely not, because it's not against the law. Okay. So continue on. It says, those who feel free to eat anything must not look down on those who don't. And those who don't eat certain foods must not condemn those who do. For Yahweh, Ba'ashim Shai, has accepted them. Who are you to condemn someone else's servant? That's right. Their own master will judge whether they stand or fall. That's right. And now, does that mean we can't rebuke one another when we're going completely off? 1000%. All right. You're supposed to rebuke one another when we're going off. All right. But like I said, that's on what's right and wrong according to the law. And then there's the individual experiences that we all have with Yahweh Bashim Shai according to the time we've been believers. Okay. As it says, and with the Lord's help, they will stand and receive his approval. Okay. So let's get a preset. Let's go to Colossians 2 and 16. And this is more so for, newer believers coming into the faith.
Mhm.
Obviously, you're coming out of the world into the truth, and you have to strip, all right, yourself of that old man. Okay. And not everything that you strip is going to be easy, obviously. There's going to be certain habits and things that you're used to in the flesh, all right, that were of the world that you're going to have to get rid of. And it will take time, all right, but you must fight and continue to maintain your faith and fear in Yahweh Shem Shai. And over time, you will conquer, all right, that fleshy desire or whatever it may be. Okay. Um, this is Colossians 2 and 16. Uh, hmm, yeah, Colossians 2 and 16. It says, straight to the point, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respects of an holy day. Yeah, like for example, not all believers are circumcised. Do we encourage you getting circumcised with no matter the age you're at? Of course we do, right? That's a part of our customs as Hebrew Israelites. But are you wicked if you don't? No. Right? That you need to be persuaded in your own mind to do something like that. Okay. Even high holy days. Of course, you're supposed to keep the Sabbath. Um, Even when you go back then to the history, a lot of these believers coming from the world, from the Roman way of life, all right, into their nationality and their customs, it took time for them to be persuaded in their own mind of the high holy days and the new moons and the dietary law. Okay, but they were sincere. All right, so this is what Paul's going into, and there's nothing new today with this. It's the same thing. All right, let no man. That's why your spirit, all right, is on us here at GMS to let you know that you can't be saved by the law. The law is a schoolmaster, as the scriptures say. It's a guidance. It's a blueprint for us to go back off on, all right, to go off. But ultimately, okay, um, you have to make sure that you're good with Yahweh Bashim Shai in your relationship,
Con.
okay, via your faith and your fear. Because when all hell breaks loose, we know that the law can't save you. All right, it's the blood of Yahweh Shai that covers you in the washing of the word. All right, that gives you stability, Isaiah 33:6, in Jacob's trouble. Not whether how well you keep high holy days or what foods you do and don't eat. Even though you can't eat pork, you can't eat any of these foods that are strictly against the law. Okay. So, anyways, it says, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respects of an holy day, or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Yahushai." So all these things that we practice, that's why the scriptures call it rehearsal, are a shadow of things to come. Okay. This is not where we get it down right, 100%. This is where we practice in it. Okay. Rehearse it. As it says here, I'm reading NLT. "So don't let anyone condemn you for what you eat or drink, or for not celebrating certain holy days, or new moon ceremonies, or Sabbaths. For these rules are only shadows of the reality yet to come. And Yahushua himself is the reality, is that reality." Exactly. Khan. Right? Verse 18, "Don't let anyone condemn you by insisting on pious self-denial or the worship of angels, saying they've had a vision about these things. Their sinful minds have made them proud." Yep. And that's a this is the year that we're coming into. Apostate agents and sellouts. Right? They're gonna come with all kind of cunning devices and tales that will deceive many, as scriptures say. Okay. But those that are rooted in their relationship with Yahweh Shem Shai via this truth, you can't pluck them out of the hands of Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay. And it says, "And they are not connected to Yahweh Shai, the head of the body." That's right. Right. And that's manifesting. Okay. "For he holds the whole body together with its joints and ligaments, and it grows as Yahweh nourishes it." So the bottom line is, no matter, we all come from different walks of life. The bottom line is that we're teaching Yahweh Shai, and we're teaching the truth according to the scriptures, and
That's
we're
right.
prophesying. That's the bottom line. We all come from different walks of life, but that's the bottom line. That's what unifies us together, is Yahweh Shai being that chief cornerstone. That's the
I have
bottom line.
beautiful. Wow. Loaded there. First, I have First Timothy 4:4, because simply put, the Lord only requires what He requires. He's the righteous judge, going into what is sanctified and what is not. And these false teachers, they're telling us that the heathens can make it. So who's sanctifying them in righteousness? So I'm going to read First Timothy 4:4, man. And you guys have no clue what's going on over there, right? But this is what the Lord requires. So this is what we're going into. Simply put, is what the Lord has sanctified, and what was read earlier on and broken down carefully is what the Lord sanctions in terms of what to eat and how to be righteous in the spirit to your neighbor. So I'm going to read 1 Timothy 4:4, right? Going into just clarify on that. Second, let me get it. Yeah, straight to the point. It says here, this is as a matter of fact, you look at it from there. Yeah, I'm just going to read it from the NLT. 1 Timothy 4:4. It says, "Since everything our power created is good, we should not reject any of it, but receive it with thanks." Okay, and it's not just cut and dry. You eat the lobster, you do this, you do that. No, it's not what it's going into, right? So it has to be received in righteousness. That's simply put. That's all he's actually going into, and it was already broken down for you folks to understand. Okay, and I'll just read the next verse real quick. In the KJV, 1 Timothy 4:5, it says, "For we know it is made acceptable by the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and prayer." That's it. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm actually gonna get one more too, because this is a perfect precept to highlight um, as well what Paul is talking about here. Because there's the laws are the boundaries, and then you have the individual lanes between each boundary. So you have a boundary on the far right and you have a boundary on the far left. These are the boundaries we can't cross. These are the laws, statutes, and commandments. But we're all walking within our own lane, in our own lane within these boundaries. Some are further along in their walk, others aren't. So obviously, the ones that are further along in their walks, there's certain practices and behaviors, mannerisms, things they eat, things they do and don't do that they picked up along the way that those who are just starting their walk won't have. Does that mean one is wicked and the other one is righteous? No. And this is what Paul was addressing because there was a lot of boasting among one another within the church. All right, oh, you Israelite foreigners, you know, you have to eat like us. Talking about Israelites who knew they were Israelites, and all that was doing is quenching the faith, the sincere faith of the believers, instead of actually uplifting their faith. All right, so real quick, this is 1 Corinthians 8:8. Also going to get this in NLT. It says, it says, it is true that we can't win Yahweh's approval by what we eat. We don't lose anything if we don't eat it, and we don't gain anything if we do. Yeah, right. It's all up to you. It doesn't change whether you're righteous or not just because one is a vegetarian and the other one isn't. Now, if one was eating pork and the other one isn't, that's a different story. Those are the boundaries that we can't cross because that's the law. So it says, verse 8, but you must be careful so that your freedom, right? Freedom being your relationship with Yahweh Bashem Yashai based upon the years of experience. Okay, your years of experience in the truth. But you must be careful so that your freedom, right, or experience does not cause others with a weaker conscience, right, to stumble.
That's right.
Here in the King James says, but take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours becomes a stumbling block to them that are weak. If I'm an older brother and I have a younger brother with me and I like to drink, and I know that brother, he can drink, but he's just coming out of the world and drinking and partying and coming out of that party life and that drinking life, that drug life. I'm not going to invite him over to come have a drink with me right away. I'm not going to do that because I know he's just coming out of those things. I don't know what doors can be that drinking can open for him. What if drinking is a gateway, all right, for him to do drugs? You see, we don't know what attachments or what familiar what's it called? What familiar spirits each one of us have from the world. So we got to take heed. We have to look after one another, simply put. Okay. Now that word liberty, let's just get that real quick in the Greek. Yeah. So it says here, power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases, leave or permission, physical or mental power, the ability or strength which one is endued, which he either possesses or exercises. Right? Yeah. Because hey, some of you, hey, younger brothers, hey, you might see an older brother, all right, that he might, he really shouldn't be going to the club. I'm just using an example. Let's say he goes out to the club. You as a younger brother, and you're told, no, you don't go to the club. Well, guess what? That brother probably he can handle himself better in that environment than that younger brother. So guess what? As it says here, the ability or strength which one is
Mm-hmm.
endued,
And dude, yeah. Mm-hmm.
which he either possesses or exercises. Some brothers, hey, I work out quite often. Just because another brother doesn't work out as much as me, I'm not gonna say, oh, you're unhealthy, brother. That's wicked. You got to be healthy. Your body is a temple. There's a level to that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah. That's basically the point. So let's finish off this precept.
Stay in your lane. But anyway,
Yeah. Stay in your, yeah.
stay in,
You're right. Stay in your lane.
stay in your lane. The
It
precept that
says
was
here.
coming to my mind, if I may bring, in regards to that beautiful explanation and example you made, is, excuse me, roughly paraphrasing it, familiarity brings contempt, right?
Yep.
When you have
So
an
you need
imbalance like
order.
that, yeah, right, with a younger brother, you know, you don't want to get cross over and go into that with that younger brother.
Yep. It says here, First Corinthians 8 and 9. It says, "But you must be careful so that your freedom does not," is the NLT,
Mm-hmm.
"does not cause others with a weaker conscience to stumble.
That's right.
For if others see you with your superior knowledge eating in the temple of an idol, won't they be encouraged to violate their conscience by eating food that has been offered to an idol?" I should get this in King James. King James is actually better. It says, "For if any man sees thee, which has knowledge, sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are often to idols?" Exactly. That's right. So you got to be careful.
That's
Okay.
right.
It's very straightforward, man. We're like, basically, you're like a big brother. Okay. And through thy knowledge shall the weak, brother perish for whom Yahushua died. That's right. But when you, but when ye sin so against the brethren, and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Yahushua. You see,
That's right.
that's serious, man. Be very careful, right? Hey, listen, let's apply this to according to doctrine, because we know that meat and drink is twofold. Meat and drink is literal, but it's also uh, uh, um, spiritual,
The
according
doctrine.
to what? According to the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's the doctrine that we know, and there's deeper aspects of the doctrine as well that are given to you through study, meditation, and the spirit ultimately. There's certain things that that you can't have conversations with younger brothers. They're just learning the milk. You can't be conversating about things that are meat related to a younger brother who's not even fully established in the milk. Okay, that's an example.
That's right.
NLT, it says, and when you sin against against other believers by encouraging them to
Mm-hmm.
do something they believe is wrong, you are sinning against Yahushua. Yeah, if a brother doesn't want to drink, don't force that brother to drink. Clearly, he feels like it's wrong in his spirit for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yahushua, the Holy Spirit is condemning him with that for a reason. And that's between him and Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. That's their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last verse. Last verse that says, "So if what I eat causes another believer to sin, I will never eat meat again as long as I live, for I don't want to cause another believer to stumble." That's right. Because then his blood is on your hands. All right, so continue on to Romans 14:4. It says, "Who art thou that judgest another man's servant?" This is the King James. "To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for Yahweh is able to make him stand." Verse 5. "One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike." Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Do not
Mm-hmm.
be in this ministry, walk in this walk for any other person but yourself. Okay? Do not be in this ministry, understanding this doctrine, learning this doctrine, and walking this walk for anybody other than yourself. Okay? No one else can be saved, or you can only save yourself through Yahweh
Mm-hmm.
Bashem Shai. You can't save other people, and other people can't save you. Okay, so don't do. Hey, the scriptures say to any man who does anything without faith, it's a sin, right? If you do anything without faith, it's a sin, which makes sense.
That's right.
Um, but if you also do anything, all right, that you know it's wrong, it might be okay in the scriptures, but you know it's wrong for you, and you do it anyways. That's also sin as well. The scriptures say that. Okay, so in other words, you got to be very honest with yourself. NLT says, in the same way, some think one day is more holier than another day, while others think every day is alike. You should each be fully convinced that whichever day you choose is acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Those who worship the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, on a special day, do it to honor him. Those who eat any kind of food, do so to honor the Lord, Yahweh
That's right.
Bashim Shai. Since they give thanks to Yahweh, Bashim Shai, before eating, and those who refuse to eat certain foods also want to please the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, and give thanks to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Exactly. So, what you should be getting from this is that we all have our own personal, individual relationship with Yahweh Bashim Shai,
That's right.
and Yahweh Bashim Shai requires us individually, or requires something from us individually that's separate from one another because of that individual himself. Okay, some brothers don't have to do what another brother does, but that brother has to do it because that's that brother. Okay, you should know this for yourself within your own spirit.
That's right.
So let's continue on here. I'll stay in the NLT. It says verse 7.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Hmm. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, yeah, let's continue on. So verse 7, it says, for we don't live for ourselves or die for ourselves. If we live, it's to honor the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Shai. And if we die, it's to honor the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Shai.
that's right.
So whether we live or die, we belong to the Lord. Yahweh Shai died and rose again. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. So whatever we do, we belong to the Lord. Meaning what? Meaning that everything we do, we have to have Yahweh Bashim Shai at the forefront of our minds.
That's
Does this
right.
please the Lord? Did I do this or not? If it doesn't, but it pleases you, then that's your wrestle, right? That's your wrestle because we can't serve ourselves and Yahweh Bashim Shai. You serve Yahweh Bashim Shai first, then you serve yourself. And when you serve yourself, it has to be in line with what Yahweh Bashim Shai requires or is okay with. Okay. So it says, verse 9, Yahweh Shai died and rose again for this very purpose, to be Lord both of the living and of the dead. That's right. It says, verse 10, so why do you condemn another believer? Why do you look down on other believers? And that was happening a lot. All right, within the church, you have believers who will look down on other believers because, oh, he's not doing as much videos as I'm doing. Hey, we don't have, not every brother has the same measure of faith and fear. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you might be doing 10 lessons a week. Okay, another brother is just getting by with 2 to 3 lessons a week. Are you gonna look at that brother and be like, see, I'm greater than you, man? Oh, I don't know if Yahweh Shemel Shai is dealing with you, or are you gonna talk to the brother and encourage him,
That's right. Oh,
right?
beautiful.
Watch his lessons and see where the spirit, where the spirit gears him to. The Spirit might gear him to character building lessons. So why not encourage a brother? You know what, brother, you do really good in character building lessons. I encourage you to do more often. These are certain ways and certain these are certain things that we have to keep in mind constantly, day in and day out, as newer believers are coming in. All right. Especially, for brothers who are veterans. You've been in the truth long enough. We can't allow the flesh, all right, to pump himself up, I guess, another brother just because he's not doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just finish this verse. It says, so why do you condemn another believer? Why do you look down on another believer? Remember, we will all stand before the judgment seat of Yahweh. Yeah. Hey,
That's right.
there's certain things that in the history that maybe your elder might not know. Are you now greater than your elder? Come on. You got to use humility and wisdom. Just like there's something that another brother doesn't know, best believe there's something that brother knows that you don't know as well.
Straight.
Okay? And how many verses are in this thing? 22? 23.
22.
Okay, so we'll cut it off at 11. So let me just read this last verse. It says,
Take your time.
for the scriptures say, as surely as I live, says the Lord Yahweh, every knee will bend to me, and every tongue will confess and give praise to Yahweh Bashem El Shai.
That's right.
You got something you want to bring up?
Yeah. Sticking on to the theme of judgment, right? And mercy. Excuse me, judgment and mercy. Let me be clear. All right. I wanted to go to the book of Sirach real quick, just a couple of verses in there, right? In exhortation and how the Spirit's going to be working when we're in these situations. So this is I'm gonna go to Sirach 18, and I'm gonna read a couple of verses from there, KJV. Right, just to bring home the point of judgment. This is 18 and 13, and I'm going to read to just to 14. Simply put, just to tie in the point of mercy and judgment. So this is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, KJV 18, chapter 18 and 13. It says, the mercy of man is toward his neighbor, but the mercy of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, is upon all flesh. Okay. He reproveth and nurture it and teach it and bring it again as a shepherd his flock. Right? So that's the spirit that we need to be in. And simply put, right? And we got to pray and beg for it. Okay? Because if not, the flesh is going to rise up in a strange way. Verse 14, ending off the point, it says, he had mercy on them that receive discipline and that diligently seek after his judgments. Right? So yes, there is a way and there's order to things in how the Lord requires it. As we are led of the Spirit, we believe, and staying in our lanes. This is what the Lord requires: mercy and judgment.
Yeah. Well,
Discipline.
that's the spirit, because verse 15 on down a little bit kind of expresses what you say. It says, verse 15, unless you want to read it.
No. Go ahead. Take your time. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Because I'm looking at it.
My son, blemish not thy good deeds. Right? So don't look down on yourself just because another brother is doing something. Another brother might speak very well. Hey, you don't speak that well. Don't look down on the fact of on your own speaking because another brother speaks better. Right? You don't do that, because what the Lord gave you was for you. And remember, Moses did the same thing. Moses said, yo, I don't speak well. And the Lord got mad at Moses and said, who made the mouth? Did you or did I? Right? So in other words, you got to have faith in what you got. If you have faith in the gifts that were given to you, guess what? Through your faith and obedience to Yahweh Shai, You will nurture those gifts, and they will grow. Okay. My son, blemish not thy good deeds, neither use uncomfortable words when thou giveth anything. That's right. Shall not the dew assuage the heat? So is a word better than a gift. That's right. This is why I mentioned upliftment. Instead of looking down on brothers who don't do what you do or don't have the same measure that you have, let's
Mhm.
uplift one another, right? It says,
That's right.
so is a word better than a gift. You see, lo is not, it says, lo is not a word better than a gift, but both are with a gracious man. You see?
That's right.
And we have all the reasons in the world, okay, to be gracious in this ministry. Why? Because this ministry is mercy. It was given to us. None of us did anything in the world, all right, to be chosen, all right, for the Lord to bring us or to be called into this ministry. None
Yeah,
of us did anything.
that's
It
right.
was all through mercy and grace. So why not? So when we understand that, and you look at what this precept says again, lo, is it not a word? Is not a word better than a gift?
Mhm.
But but both are with a gracious man. Okay. And look, it says here, a fool, right? A fool will upbraid churlishly, right? Upbraid basically means to scold,
Mhm.
okay?
Right.
And a gift of envious consumeth the eyes. Wow, that's the spirit. Let me get this in NLT.
Mhm.
Because this happens every time, man, especially when you're first coming into the truth. You know, you're gonna see men who have been in the truth longer than you and have honed in and longer than you have on their gifts and their
Mhm.
talents given to them by Yahweh Bashim El Shai. That should only inspire you to do the same with yours. It shouldn't give you an envious eye towards them.
That's right.
And if it does, then you got to search what's inside of you. Obviously, that means you have a mote in your eye. Okay. And that's
Mhm.
just the flesh. The flesh envious everything.
That's right.
But what was it? Sirach 18 you're in?
Yeah, verse. Yeah, you're at verse. Excuse me. 17. Well, actually, verse
Yeah,
18. You're at.
17.
You're at. Yeah, you can. Yeah, because you're gonna go NLT now, right?
Yeah,
You're
I'm gonna
looking.
go
Yeah,
GNT. Verse
yeah,
17
yeah. Verse 17. Beautifully. That's right.
is Sirach 18 and 17. Yes,
Mhm.
kind words are more. Oh my God, fucking pop-ups. Jesus Christ. It says, Sirach 18 and 17. Yes, kind words are more effective than the best of gifts.
Mhm.
And if you are really concerned, you will give both. You see,
That's right.
it is stupid to be unkind and insulting. No one's eyes are going to sparkle at a gift that you resent giving. That's
That's
true.
great.
It's a
That's
different way of bringing it out. That's not the exact same uh, uh, um, notion that the King James was giving, but this is also true. 19, it says, know what you are talking about before you speak and give
Mhm.
attention to your health before you get sick. Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
But
Straight.
King James is a little bit better, actually, just to get to the point of, I like how I put it, right? It says, lo, is not is not a gift, it's not a word. Oh my goodness. Is
Mhm.
not a word better than a gift. Both are with a gracious man. A
Mhm.
fool, right, will
Yeah,
upbraid churlishly, and a gift
get this
and
one.
a gift of the envious consumeth the eyes. That's
Cheers.
exactly what happened to Cain. His envy consumed his eyes and led him to murder his own brother. Okay, so we got to be very, very careful of that envious spirit, which comes from the flesh. Um, yeah, that's basically it. Let's see. Oh, let me get this too. We'll go to
Yeah,
Sirach.
yeah,
We got
deliberately
Sirach.
rude. That's what that. Okay, that word there, churlishly, is means deliberately rude.
Con.
Meaning deliberately rude. Just for you folks out there. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Yep. Simply put, deliberately rude.
Ecclesiastes 12 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
12 and 4. Oh, 12 and 14, Slocky. 12 and 14, it reads, yeah, this is NLT. It says, Yahweh Bashim Shai will judge us for everything we do, including every secret thing, whether good or bad. So do everything, all right, to the appeasement of Yahweh Bashim Shai,
That's
not
right.
man.
That's right.
Okay, even if it's a brother, because sometimes what you do, all right, which is righteous in the eyes of Yahweh Bashim Shai,
Mm-hmm.
will offend a brother for the moment. And if if the Holy Spirit is dealing with that brother, guess what? He's going to come to that conclusion that what you were doing was the right thing. Okay.
That's right.
And some brother, and this is the reality of what we're involved in. There's so many of us, and we all come from different walks of life. Guess what? Certain brothers are going to rub you the wrong way. Does that mean that brother is wicked? Not necessarily. No. Okay. You just come from two different walks of life, and that's just how it is. But he's going to be judged for what he does according to Yahweh Shem Shai, and you're going to be judged for what you do according to Yahweh Shem Shai. So, like you prefaced earlier, we have to look after one another, but also stay within our own lanes, man.
That's right. That's right. Right. And that covenant relationship with Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Personal
you always
side.
say this, exactly. You always say it's personal, right? And it is. This is gonna be my last precept. This is
Mm-hmm.
Sirach 16 and 12, and I will get this in the GNT. Says Sirach 16 and 12, his punishment is as severe as his mercy is great. He judges people by what they have done. No, this is why Yahushua says it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out,
Mm-hmm.
right? No sinner can escape with what he has stolen. The Lord Yahweh shall reward the patience of devout people. Right? So if you're patient within your gifts, the main point here is really the last half of this verse. But if you're patient within your gifts and not envying other brothers with what they can do or what they can't do, guess what? The Lord will reward you. And okay, you're being devout to what He gave you.
That's right.
Okay, the Lord gave you the spirit where you can read very well and you go into words, you nourish that gift. You nourish the hell out of it. But if you also want to become a great speaker, you work on that as well. And there's
That's
a
right.
balance of those things. Never stay stagnant. Always seek to apply more spiritual gifts to your repertoire, to your belt, so to speak. Okay. And it says every righteous person will be rewarded. Everyone will get what he deserves.
That's right.
All right. Yeah, okay. Last verse. Never say I will hide from the Lord. Nobody up there is going to give me a thought. How can I be noticed among so many people? Right? You come into the faith and you see there's all these men, all these great men. And because of the intimidation factor, so to speak, you might look down on yourself. Don't look down on yourself. Looking down on yourself when you've been called to the truth, all right, is really like looking down on the decision of Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, be honest with yourself, but don't look down on yourself at the same time. There's a difference. Okay, there's always something to look. There's always something to look at within yourself and know that this is a gift from Yahweh Shai. It says the creation is so enormous. What am I worth? When the Lord comes, everything will tremble. The earth and the great waters beneath it, the sky and the heavens above. Yeah, but the point is from 12 to 17. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for me. I don't know if you got
Mm-hmm.
something else you want to bring up or close up with.
Yeah, I was going to go to Wisdom 12 and 18 again, just tying in a point of judgment, just one verse, right? Just to tie that into what was said, and ultimately it goes back to righteous judgment which is given of the Spirit. So yeah, Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 18, one verse.
Mhm.
See if it's that's the one I wanted. Yeah. 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 That's it. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So simply put, I'll read it, and it's just simply going into it. But it's basically it's already broken down in essence. So it says, this is Wisdom 12 and 18. It says, but thou mastering thy power, judgest with equity, and orderest us with, well, because I'm reading it from your screen, that's why there's a
My bad. Here, you want
that's
bigger?
that's okay, that's fine. Yeah, with great favor, see, for thou mayest use power when thou wilt. Great favor. So this is given, and as brother just mentioned, man, you got to ask the Lord for it. Don't be stagnant, right, on all levels. But yeah, so everything goes back to the righteous judge and being balanced, begging the Lord to make us balanced. But yes, great favor, right? That word, great favor. Okay, and then I read earlier on the precepts in regards to the diligence and so forth like that. So yes, this is a beautiful thing, man, right? Because the gift is given, and it comes by prayer, of course, and the Lord says to ask him, and he will do it. Simply put, yeah. So by mastering the power, right? By mastering that power, that gift has to be given. Okay. Simply put, it has to be given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's the walk, right? That's our walk. We have to. Yeah. The power is judgment, mastering the power of judgment within ourselves and within the environment that we're in. Hence the word equity.
That's right. That's right. You can't go in the corner and conjure it up by yourself. I think you said something like that. I don't want to put words in your mouth earlier on. Right? This is of the Lord, right? You gotta keep the focus on him.
But that's it on this?
Yeah, that's it. That's it, brother. That's all I got, man.
All right. So we're going to close up. Lord willing, this is straightforward and edifying to the whole full elect of the nation of Israel. We're going to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and have taught this word in truth and sincerity, and peace and mercy to the whole full elect, starting with 144,000. All right. That's also pushing this word in truth and sincerity across the full course of the earth. Baba Ball, Kwama Shala, and Shalom to the whole full elect.